3. Now, your host for Public Pulse, Floyd Whiting.
Good morning and welcome to Public Pulse. My guests this morning are Sheridan County Sheriff Levi Dominguez and Under Sheriff Lieutenant Devereaux Johnson. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Floyd.
Now, how are things out and about the county?
Going well, starting to see some sunshine, and that's what we like to see, hopefully. But
Fingers crossed it sticks around, right?
I spoke too soon when you're looking at the weather report. I think this weekend we're supposed to get some more snow. So, but yeah, it's been a good winter for sure for, when we're talking about moisture and looking what the snowpack is up on the mountain and things like that. But, that sometimes comes with a long, harsh winter as well. So, but they're winters I remember growing up here for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was a kid, sometime mid-90s, I can remember Mom opening the front door, and it was about waist high against the screen. And I remember thinking, okay, this is Wyoming. We're this is it. This is the winter that everybody had always talked about. And so, with all that moisture up on the hill, I think my biggest fear is April being a really warm month because, I've got friends who've gone up on the hill and they've come down and they said, boy, when that comes down, it's not if it floods this year, it's when it's going to start flooding this year. So, is the sheriff's office very active in these anti-flood activities?
Sure. We're in communication with the county and the emergency management coordinator, of course, Jesse Ludikaus and things like that. And he's been well up to speed and keeping up. Starting early, I think we've got, and the county has sandbag filling stations out throughout the county, in the Tongue River Valley and Sheridan, out in the Bighorn area and things like that. And so you can go onto the county's website, I think, and the emergency management, website, I think Facebook, social media, and it gives you those where those filling stations are for sandbags. But especially, we're expecting flooding this spring, no doubt. We'll see what that looks like. It's just going to be how quick that snowpack's going to run off the mountain and what we can do with it. Our deputies, what we've done in the past, and it just depends on how bad the flooding year is we're out patrolling. Our staff's out patrolling. They're being proactive. They're taking a look at all the roads, the county roads, highways, and things like that, reporting back to County Road and Bridge, YDOT, Sheridan County Emergency Management Coordinator, and just giving a detailed, report of what's going on. Do we need to close roads? Do we need to get something going on here? I think a few years back with the last big flooding, we had residents in the Big Goose area that may not be able to get to, bridges. The concern was bridges being washed out and things like that. So, those are all things at our forefront and what we can do with that. And so, we'll definitely be watching that this spring.
And, like the deputies are the eyes and ears out there, right. Driving around those county roads and kind of figuring out where's the low spots, and maybe we should tell Road and Bridge about this low spot.
And you're right. We have our problem areas every spring, regardless if it's a bad flooding year or not. So we know those areas are going to be troublesome and County Road and Bridge and the county does a great job preparing for that. But it's going to be years like this when maybe we're expecting a little bit more flooding that we're going to have to be looking, and seeing what other roads and areas of the county are going to be affected.
Coming together as a team, during those hard times, I think is fantastic. Road and Bridge, emergency management, the sheriff's office, just coming together as a county and a community.
Right.
And I will just recommend to folks, if you have had flooding in the past, make sure that you're getting out there. Just get a couple of sandbags a day. It is not too early. I've been on a couple different flood details when I was with the National Guard throughout the state, and I can say those sandbags don't go as far as you think. You may have quite a few, but make sure you've got quite a few plus more.
Right. Yeah. Right. Floyd, great point. Going and filling up those sandbags. I was at the town of Ranchester's town council meeting Tuesday night. And, I think Mayor Peter Clark made a great point, that those sandbag filling stations, like the one that they have behind the town hall there, use them for their purpose, right? Don't be using them for your kids' sandboxes. Don't be using them for other things, for the weight in the back of your vehicle. Let those be utilized for what they're out there for, and that's for the flooding and helping mitigate that. So I'd like to remind the community that's what those are for.
And, if you want to, while you're out there filling some for yourself, maybe fill 5 more. Toss them off to the side. We've got some elderly individuals throughout the entire county that don't have anybody. Yeah. And it'd be nice for them to drive up to one of those sites and maybe see a couple pre-filled sandbags, throw them in the back of their vehicle so they don't have to, sit out there and try to fill them themselves. It's just a suggestion, maybe 5, 6 more. And just leave them right there for someone to pick up who just can't get out there and do it themselves. Right. Yep. Now, outside of the typical challenges that weather give to you and your deputies, does a harsh winter give you guys any more challenges than a typical winter or anything like that? Outside of we all have challenges with driving on the roads and stuff like that. But do you find that more calls come in for various things during harsh winters than, say, a light one?
It depends. You try to put, the thought process behind that when we're looking at numbers and we're running numbers, we're looking at year in review. Yeah, there's always the potential when people are cooped up and they can't get out, right? The propensity for domestic violence to occur in the home when you're not getting out and wanting to do the things you want to do. So that's always a concern. Are we seeing those numbers from this winter up? I haven't necessarily seen that, but that's always on the forefront, right? Yeah. That's the possibility. So those are always concerns that we have, no different than when we're. And then, other concerns are, the road conditions, things like that, getting out, making sure that the county road and bridge folks, that the crews, they do an amazing job keeping our county roads clear. I mean, some of these drifts that we've seen this winter are taller and higher than I've ever seen them, growing up here. And they're getting those cleared out, as soon as they can, which is great for emergency services to make sure that we can, get to emergencies within the county rural areas that we need to. So those are challenges. Yeah. The numbers, when we're looking at people being cooped in and things like that, that can be a concern, just kind of getting in that kind of lump that people get in sometimes during the holiday season, winter moving into spring. So those are concerns, but we haven't seen an uptick at this moment.
No, I don't think so. And we talked last time a little bit about when, heavy snow starts falling, you start seeing, potential feet of snow, not only on the ground, but on the roofs. We're discussing, trying to make sure that we're keeping those pipes clear and running off the furnaces and things like that, So I think maybe, you start seeing a lot of heavy snowfall, you start seeing more calls like that, but I would agree with Sheriff Dominguez. As of now, I don't think I've seen a whole lot of uptick necessarily. But
well, that's good. That we haven't seen like a dramatic uptick to where you're like, nope, yep, this is a big issue. All quiet out and about is a good thing. So it's just been one of those winters that we'll probably end up talking about for a couple of years. It's been cold. There's been so much snow.
Just doesn't seem to end.
Right, and this one just seems to kind of drag on. But I will admit, on the winters that don't seem to show up until the very end of November or maybe middle December, I'm always kind of thinking to myself, well, this isn't much. Right. And then finally nature's like, well, I'll give you one. And here I am complaining about that too. So maybe it's just my personality. Now, how much of your job as sheriff and under sheriff is really communicating and talking with the public? We've got our deputies, they're kind of out there, they're answering calls, probably stopping, checking on folks along the way. Right. But is it one of those situations where as you climb the ranks, all of a sudden now you realize, wow, a lot more of this is me getting out, talking with the public and kind of being somewhat of a PR individual, I guess. The sheriff's office is here for you, and here's the services we provide. How much of your job entails that?
Yeah, I think a lot, but I also want to stress that, I think we've built a culture within the sheriff's office, not just from me, but from Sheriff Alan Thompson and Sheriff Dave Hoffmeyer and previous sheriffs moving forward, that the sheriff's office, we want our deputies and our staff to be approachable. we want our staff to be out communicating and chatting with the public on a daily basis when they're out on their routine patrols and doing things. And so making sure that our staff's comfortable doing that on their daily patrols, whether it's our front office staff, our maintenance, our detention deputies, our patrol deputies, everybody that's involved in the sheriff's office, we want them to be approachable, be able to communicate with the public. And so having that, that kind of that expectation when you're hired with the sheriff's office, that's what we want as you start to develop in your career and progress and get promotions and move into the positions that we're in now, it becomes very easy to be able to do that. And because you're already doing that, right? You're emulating that from things that you've been doing since you were hired. And so I think that's something that's been easy for all of our staff as we develop and they promote. But yeah, it's a daily basis. I'm out, as we were talking, moving some schedules around to make sure that we can meet with all the individuals that we need to. But always we're communicating with the public, and how can the question is how can we better serve the community?
Yeah, right.
That's always the forefront, and that's always the question I'm asking individuals in the community and organizations that we work alongside, that we're partnering with, is how can the sheriff's office assist in providing a better service, not for the service we're providing, but how can we assist you as well to make sure that you're providing the service?
And really cultivating that culture, not just among the deputies, but among the community itself. You're out doing whatever you do, and you see a deputy pull up, get out of his pickup truck, or his or her pickup truck, and come walking up to you. Usually the first thought is, oh, there's a problem. What's the problem? But I really like the idea that, well, I'm just coming up here to ask how you're doing, see if there's any way that we can help you. I'm out driving around the county.
Yeah.
And I'm curious as to what problems do you guys have that we can help out with. And that is, maybe Hollywood has a part of it, maybe the news and certain, ways that law enforcement is displayed within media today. Maybe that has something to do with that. Mm-hmm. Well, if they show up, there's a problem,
sure.
And I like the idea that I can just walk up to an officer on the street and ask him a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That I don't have to feel like a fear, like am I bothering them, or is this going to get me in trouble somehow? I'm not breaking the law. I'm curious about something, or maybe I'm lost and I need some help. So I think that's something that, law enforcement has to, I don't want to say battle against, but that's kind of the word.
No, that's always
fight against that image.
There's always that narrative out there that you see from folks that are trying to, I don't want to say, but yeah, law enforcement, that's what our mission is to do that. But no, again, our mission is what I explained before. And, I can speak for many of our staff at the sheriff's office that some of my fondest memories when I was patrolling were the proactive patrols, getting into some of the recreational areas of Sheridan County where you see families, out at the Cleanburn area, they're going out to fish, they're getting ready to go out and take their, kayaks into the water, and pulling up in there, getting out and visiting with those families and the kids, and asking them how many fish did you catch, what doing those types of contacts and being able to communicate with the community in that way. That's better than anything we could be doing. You know? And that's what our staff does on a daily basis. Yeah, and the idea that those kids see that uniform, and they think safety, security, and service. That's what that uniform represents. I know to a lot of kids around here, which is fantastic. Who knows? You could have looked at the future sheriff right there when you were asking how many fish he caught.
There you go.
That's right. Absolutely.
Now, another technique that's been developed by the Sheridan County Sheriff's Office to connect with the public is donuts with deputies. Do we know when this program began?
Well, yeah, so it's kind of evolved, right? So Sheriff Alan Thompson really wanted to get out and kind of be more proactive and do these he calls them community outreach programs, and that's what they are. That was kind of his community outreach programs, getting out maybe once a quarter to the communities around Sheridan County and meeting with these. After I was promoted to undersheriff, I kind of took it, and so I started making names to kind of catch. So he wasn't a big fan of donuts with deputies. I loved it. I thought it was great. I'm like, it'll work. And we've done some others like chips, dips, and deputies, and things like that. So we'll keep providing those. But Sheriff Alan Thompson kind of kind of jump started that program with the community outreach programs, and so we're going to continue that. We're just getting, it's been a seamless transition with me taking office and getting our leadership kind of put into places. And so, come April, we're going to start that quarterly, trying to get out into the communities and meet. And so we're going to be, doing that here in April.
Fantastic. When is the next Donuts with Deputies?
It's going to be April 1st in the Lucille Alley room at the Dayton Town Hall. We're going to run from about 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on that. Yep.
Now, LT, I know you've been out there doing a lot of these. What are some of the concerns, or what's the conversation like during a lot of these? Are a lot of them, just citizens coming up to meet their deputies and get to know their faces and shake their hand?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, when you ask, what are some of the concerns, I think the main point is making sure that if there are any concerns that we're available, maybe, just like Sheriff Dominguez says, our goal is to be out and be approachable. And there's a deputy, all the time there's a deputy out and about, but what better way to be connected with a law enforcement officer, a deputy, the sheriff, myself, than at one of these events and be able to say, hey, this is something that, we've been experiencing, or this is a question that I've had, but, maybe the individual at one of the previous ones, I spoke with a gentleman who said, hey, this question's been burning in my mind. And I forget what the question was, but he says, I didn't want to call and bother anybody. And I had to reassure him it's never a bother. This is something that we're here to do, and something we want to be able to answer these questions. Don't ever hesitate to call. But he's like, I saw this event was coming up, so I figured I'd stop by and shake some hands and ask my questions, and it was great. I think that's just to kind of drive the point home. I think that's what these events are all about: is being able to go out and say hi, or maybe there's someone who wants to meet Sheriff Dominguez who maybe hasn't met him before, or maybe they want to meet Deputy Kayla Oswald, or Lieutenant Devereaux Johnson. I think that's they say we post these pictures on our Facebook account of getting some of our new deputies hired on, and if they're there, it's a good opportunity to meet them as well. So I think it's a culmination of nothing but good stuff. So,
and it would be really hard to police a community that you don't know,
right?
On a very a community member level, because that's what we are. All of us together are one community. Law enforcement, their kids are going to the same schools. It's just it's a job to secure and protect.
Floyd, you're absolutely right, and I think you brought up a good point. It's hard to provide services to a community you don't know, and I think that's a big thing of getting out here, because each community within Sheridan County, we have 2,500 square miles, and we have communities all throughout the county. They all have their individual qualities and differences and problems within those communities. I don't say problems, but just uniqueness of what the type of service we need to be sure that we're providing for those communities. And so that's an opportunity for us to get out, speak with those community members. We're at the town council meetings, and we're talking to those elected officials, but also getting to the community members at the core of those folks that are living there, and making sure and ensuring that we're providing that service. And it may look different in Dayton than what it does in Story or in Bighorn or Claremont and those areas. And so that's why we're getting out and doing these, to make sure, we've got to maybe adjust different things when we're in different parts of the community and the county.
Absolutely. You're right, because my concerns when I live in Story might be night and day to, being a community member in Ranchester or something like that.
Right.
Different. It's that is kind of a stark contrast between two communities too. And here they are in the exact same county. I might be a little more worried about bears up here than I am anything else.
Yeah,
or out there, I might be concerned about some type of theft that may be going on. So these events, the Donuts with Deputies, and what'd you say?
Chips, dips, and deputies.
Chips, dips, and deputies. That just rolls off the tongue. I like that one.
That's a good one.
But these are so important for the community. So I encourage everybody to get out there, because it isn't the same people all the time either. Like you said, LT, it could be any one of our deputies, could be the sheriff, the undersheriff. Everyone goes out there, and I think that's fantastic. You get to know these people on a maybe not super personal, but on a more personable level.
Right. Yep.
Where it's like, I know that guy. He's going to be here for me. I know he'll come out, and that's important. All right, when we come back, we'll have more with the Sheridan County Sheriff's Office. After this is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM. Sheridan.
First Federal Bank and Trust would like to recognize another winner of $1,000 cash and a $1,000 marketing donation match from Sheridan Media. As part of their community commitment, the Sheridan Rotary Club is receiving these funds per random drawing.
Could your organization be next? We're giving $1,000 to a qualified nonprofit organization every week. Visit our website, efirstfederal.bank, for details. First Federal Bank and Trust and Sheridan Media present Community Commitment, member FDIC.
Frackleton's fine food and spirits for dinner tonight. How about Andy's chilled pasta salad with shells, lemon basil aioli, oven-dried tomatoes, and breaded chicken? Or the Frack Burger, a 6-ounce hand-patted beef with avocado spread, bacon, butter, lettuce, Thousand Island, and brioche bun. Or try our tenderloin filet, bacon, onion, gorgonzola sauce, sweet potato pave, spinach chiffon. Be sure to ask your server about Frackleton's wine pairings for your selection.
Time for new tires? Your timing couldn't be better because Midas is rolling out the best deals on top-rated tires. Buy 3, get 1 free with installation on Cooper and Hankook tires and up to $100 mail-in rebate. Midas also has big savings on brakes, shocks, fluid flush, even save $20 on an oil change. Check out the Midas ad in the Country Bounty for details. Roll into Midas before the end of the month for these big savings. Midas Tire and Auto on East Brundage Lane in Sheridan.
So what's wrong, Fido? Did Timmy fall down the well again? What? You mean you don't want this dog food? You want a different dog food? Okay, so you want Northwest Naturals raw diets for dogs, sold locally only at the Health Nut? Wait. You want some A-plus Answers raw goat milk formula with raw honey and organic cinnamon? And they have Northwest Naturals for cats, too? You guys stay right here. I'm going to the Health Nut in Sheridan's 5th Street Mall right now.
Hi, this is Christy Kinghorn with Buffalo Realty, and let's talk about 260 Tipperary Road, a horse owner's dream. 41 acres located off of Tipperary Road for easy access, great opportunity for ropers or horse lovers. Nice portable roping arena with roping chute, catch pen, and return alley. This arena is negotiable along with the fifth wheel. Property includes well, electricity, 8-stall barn. Call me, Christy Kinghorn at Buffalo Realty, connecting people with property.
Attention bargain hunters! Are you ready to score some incredible deals? Then head over to SheridanMedia.com for this week's Hot Buys. Bid on items starting at half off of retail value, including gift certificates to Frackleton's, Bought Beautifully, Wild Adventures, Centennial Theaters, and a bunch more. Bidding is easy. Just head over to SheridanMedia.com, click on the Hot Buys banner on the homepage, find the items you're looking for, and place your bids. But you better act fast. The auction ends tonight at 8 p.m. Don't miss your chance to save big on the things you love. Visit Hot Buys on SheridanMedia.com now and start bidding.
Good morning and welcome back to Public Pulse, proudly brought to you by our friends out there at First Federal Bank and Trust. I'm Floyd Whiting. This morning we are speaking with Sheridan County Sheriff Levi Dominguez and Undersheriff Lieutenant Devereaux Johnson. Now, no matter which service you choose to provide, Netflix has become a household name. It is the most popular streaming service in the world, with over 74 million subscribers in the U.S. and Canada and 214 million globally as of November of 2021. And that was according to a study done by CNBC. The popularity of this streaming service has also prompted some scammers to take advantage of this. Now, I know we've got some issues to talk about when it comes to search and rescue. We'll get to those. I just wanted to get this out real quick.
Sure.
LT, you're great with these scams. You're always on the ball with the newest one. What does this one do? I guess using the name of Netflix.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think you kind of already hit it on the head there in terms of how huge Netflix is. You know, I mean, millions of users and subscribers. I mean, it's a household name for the most part.
Oh, absolutely.
And this one actually came from my brother, who actually got this information first and sent it over to me. And he's just over in Campbell County, and he had texted this to me. And essentially, what's going on is he got a text message saying, your account is on hold. We're having trouble with your current billing information. So already, they're trying to get that information out there of saying, okay, hold on, your billing information is wrong, so we need to update that. Essentially, it'll send you a link that is an actual Netflix. It looks like a Netflix link. But if you really start looking into it, it goes into the further dynamic of, I don't exactly know how the
HTML
URL works, but
language,
correct. Yeah. It's just it's obviously not a Netflix link, and it says we're going to suspend your account within 48 hours if you don't pay us. So, I think it was last year I had come on once and spoken about there was a similar scam going on where people were getting phone calls in terms of power, electricity going.
We're going to shut it down.
Right. We're going to shut it down. You don't pay us right now. And unfortunately, I know that affected some of the local people here as well. So I thought this might be a good opportunity to get this out. And in the event it's on there, everything I could find on Netflix's actual communication was that generally via email, they'll communicate with updates to what movies and shows are going out. But from what I could find, they only communicate by phone call. And then if there's issues that you have, again, they're as aware of this as some of the other scams we've spoken about, where they'll actually they recommend calling them if you have an issue and going to their website, not falling for any of these types of scams.
Absolutely.
Such a huge company, of course, they're going to try to make sure their name isn't getting dragged through anything. So at the end of the day, I wanted to make sure that if this was something, and especially with someone close to me having gotten this message as well, it's obviously something that's affected locally, or at least within our state. That you take the time, again, as we've always said on these scams, that if you think if there's some kind of inkling that I don't know if this is legit, reach out to them yourself. Go onto their website, find the phone number, get a hold of the billing department, and call directly and say, is there an issue here? And really, one other option is, if something is going on that's not correct with your billing and they suspend your account after 2 days, well, it's a TV service, at least then, I can call in and say, this is what's going on. It's not your power,
It's pretty quick to fix.
Right, exactly. So if there's any questions about, or, like I said, any suspicions about, is this legit, take the time, go onto the website, get the right phone number and make that call yourself so that you're not getting involved in a potential scam.
Under Sheriff, I'm going to take this opportunity to let people know that I've also received text messages over the course of the last week, within the last week, and these things are telling me that my PayPal account needs updated. Oh, we've had to seal it. Oh, you're not going to be able to get anything done. You've got to click this link and get this taken care of. I don't have a PayPal. I've never had a PayPal. Yep. So that instantly, when I saw that, I was like, well, that's a scam, and so just deleted it right away. I haven't seen the Netflix one as of yet, but I know it's probably making its way around down the call list or down the text list, and so I imagine I'll see that soon. So, folks, the sheriff and the undersheriff have said this many, many times, and we will say it many, many times more. If you have an issue with a company or a service provider, call the company or the service provider. Don't assume that a text, an email, or even a phone call is the actual company or service provider,
legitimate company, right?
Because they're pretty good at masking this stuff.
Yep.
And just hang up or delete that text. Call the company directly. They will happily guide you through this. As the undersheriff pointed out, they don't want their name dragged through the mud either. They don't like bad guys doing what they're doing, using their name either. So now, Sheriff, you and I once talked about the former NASA engineer who declared a personal war on scammers and porch pirates. Yeah. His name is Mark Rober. If you don't follow this guy on Facebook or another streaming service, I would suggest that you do. He's absolutely brilliant.
He's a staple in our house.
He's amazing, isn't he? And he provides some great toys for kids that involve engineering and mathematics and physics, and I think that's great. And the only reason I'm really touting this guy so big, folks, is because he and his team have developed, I think it was 5 different types of boxes that tracked, recorded, and glitter bombed, as well as stink bombed. People who steal things off of porches, and he got involved in some of these scams. He connected with a partner of his who tracks these scammers. He finds their numbers, he finds their emails, he breaks it down to the code, and he figures out where all this is coming from. And so they have the ability to interrupt a scamming phone call. And this partner of his he has the voice of an old woman. And so they will actually get the scammer to play along with them. Recently, due to their efforts, the FBI and local law enforcement, who was tracking the same people, suddenly said, you know what? You've got the ability to track these guys literally house to house. And so that's what they did all the way back. They got federal institutions involved, who got Interpol involved, who got other government agencies involved, and I think the amount was $60 million. Oh. This operation, it was 3 separate operations over in a foreign country, $20 million, and I can't remember if it was like a week, a day. Look it up, folks. The amount made me take a breath. They busted them, and they shut them down. And that is amazing. Yeah, and I've seen some of that. I mean, they can track them down to the building they're in, to the floor that they're renting, because they rent floors. Yep. And I mean, yeah, it's pretty impressive. That was really neat to see, kind of getting those scammers back. And absolutely. So if you want to watch this, if you want to see a scammer get what's coming to him, find Mark Rober, Rober, and send him some love, because I just love it. I love watching those bad guys get covered in glitter and watch their cars and their apartments get full of fart smell. Right. It's just fantastic. All right, now something on the very serious side. When it comes to getting up there on that mountain, it's getting to the season. So it's time to really start addressing what safety measures should we take before I head up there to check the snow level. Yeah, we're seeing, there's an unbelievable amount of snow up in the Bighorns right now, which is great. But that also brings in a lot of recreation. And we've seen it through search and rescue missions already throughout the year. And I think that the main key that I want to bring up is let folks know where you're going. That is so important when we talk about search and rescue missions and the amount of snow that's up there. And, even the most experienced snowmobile riders and backcountry enthusiasts are having difficulties this winter, up in the Bighorn Mountains. And it takes just one, quick second of loss of focus and something happens. And if you don't let folks know where you're going and you're by yourself, it makes the Sheridan area search and rescue and any search and rescue very difficult, because we don't have a place to start, and the Bighorn Mountains are so big and Sheridan County is so big, and we've had 3 successful searches already since the beginning of the year, and it's all due because folks had planned ahead. They let folks know what part of the area of the Bighorn Mountains that they were going to be in, and they got into some trouble. And we were fortunate enough that our search and rescue crews were able to establish an area of a search right away and get these individuals located. That's fantastic to hear. It's always very apprehensive when you hear, search and rescue's been called. But, if you let someone know, they got a starting point. And they have techniques to get up and around those mountains, and they do such a great job. If you've never had to use them, fantastic. Right. If you've ever wondered if you should use them or not, use them. That's why they are there, and they're happy to get out there and do that job. Now, speaking of which, we do have an individual, Ron Condos? Ron Condos, yeah. What's going on with him? Ron Condos has been,
he was one of the original team members with the Sheridan Area Search and Rescue over 40 years ago. He served on Sheridan Area Search and Rescue for 40 years.
Wow.
And has served in every role within Sheridan Area Search and Rescue, to the president of the board. Most recently, he spent the last, over 20 years as the training officer. Sad to see him go, but he's retiring from Sheridan Area Search and Rescue at the end of this month with over 40 years of dedicated service to Sheridan County and to Sheridan Area Search and Rescue. And the amount of he's been an incident commander for several, probably hundreds of successful search and rescue missions throughout his 40 years with search and rescue. And he's just been, that's a lot of institutional knowledge but he's just done a great job with Sheridan County, and yeah, he's going to be retiring, and so he's going to be deeply missed.
40 years of dedicated service to search and rescue. Talk about an angel. If you've never been lost up in the forest, seeing another human being, especially when you see that patch. Whew, all right. Yeah. We'll talk about relief,
And Ron is just, for those that know Ron, I mean, they know him, and he's that individual that, puts forth every effort. And, when we have search and rescue missions and, maybe he was out of town initially and he's showed up, maybe a little late to the party or something, and comes, there's that calming, presence, because all of his experience that he's had and everything, they're like, all right, Ron's here, and things. So
got the hub of the wheel.
Absolutely. And so, I wanted to invite the community. We're doing kind of a gathering, a social Saturday evening to thank him. And it's going to be from 6 to 9 p.m. at Century 21 BHJ. We've been able to get that. And so, come in, there might be some light refreshments, but just to come in and thank him for his service and dedication to the community and to Sheridan County, because it's remarkable. And
as the training officer, the knowledge he's passed on to the individuals, that is such an important job. Because not only is your dedication out there with boots on the ground, but you're able to pass on 40 years of knowledge and basically, sounds like he probably knows every procedure like the back of his hand.
Right.
And so that individual deserves a lot of appreciation from the community. And so that I'd love to see a lot of people go out there. One more time, Sheriff, where and when is that going to be?
So it's for Ron Condos, celebrating 40 years of dedicated service to Sheridan Area Search and Rescue in Sheridan County. And we're going to have just a social to thank him from 6 to 9 p.m. Saturday, March 25th, 6 to 9 at Century 21 BHJ downtown. Fantastic.
All right, we're going to have more with the Sheridan County Sheriff's Office after this. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM. Sheridan.
First Federal Bank and Trust would like to recognize another winner of $1,000 cash and a $1,000 marketing donation match from Sheridan Media. As part of their community commitment, the Sheridan Rotary Club is receiving these funds per random drawing.
Could your organization be next? We're giving $1,000 to a qualified nonprofit organization every week. Visit our website, efirstfederal.bank, for details. First Federal Bank and Trust and Sheridan Media present Community Commitment, member FDIC.
The owners and staff at Kane's Funeral Home would like to thank the families of Sheridan and Johnson counties for choosing Kane's and allowing them to serve you during these hard times. Kane Funeral Home makes it their mission to take the stress and uncertainty out of ceremonial services. They own and operate the only crematory in Sheridan County, so your loved one is always in their care. Kane's Funeral Home, Call 673-5837 or visit them online at canefuneral.com.
Shan Foster with the Country Pet Inn talks about dog training and behavioral issues that dog owners may be experiencing.
If the dog's not listening to you consistently and with distractions, it's not trained. And most people say, well, my dog's trained. It can sit, it downs, it comes when I call it. But what about when Joe Squirrel runs by? What about when that semi comes by honking its horn? Well, those are the things that I train for in real life. Most of the time it's all through basic obedience. Now, by doing that, you take care of a lot of the behavioral issues, shyness issues, aggression issues, possession issues. When you put that dog in that mode or the dog understands its role, a lot of those things go away. Whether your dog has obedience issues where it doesn't listen to you or come to you when you call it, stealing food from the table, excessive barking, aggression issues, you name it, we'll work together to solve it. I help people understand their dog. I'm very fond of that. If you want to get a hold of me, go to countrypetin.com or call 674-8582.
Hi, this is Colton Bates with the Bates team at Best. While more isn't always better, when working with a real estate team, it certainly can be, as each agent has a specialized role. Working with a team also offers a ton of flexibility. For those that are seeking a primary agent to build rapport with, the other agents can act as a support system. The opposite is true for those focusing on 24/7 service. A team of pros balancing their respective roles is the easiest way to accomplish this. So start working with the Best today and choose the Bates team. Call us at 675-BEST and visit bestwy.net.
Proudly brokered by EXP. Dan Marshall here with Captain Clean. Your heating and cooling system are the lungs of your home or business, taking air in and breathing it out, directly affecting your indoor air quality. Normal day-to-day activity generates lots of contaminants and air pollutants such as dander, dust, and chemicals. Call today for your free HVAC cleaning estimate. It's 100% free, and nobody has the equipment or expertise to clean HVAC like we do. Call Captain Clean today, 672-0726. Affordable choices for healthy living.
Good morning and welcome back to Public Pulse, brought to you by our friends out there at First Federal Bank and Trust. I'm Floyd Whiting. This morning we are speaking with Sheridan County Sheriff Levi Dominguez and Under Sheriff Lieutenant Devereaux Johnson. Now, we were talking about search and rescue, a fantastic retirement social going to be happening for Mr. Ron Condos. Make sure that you get on down there and thank him for 40 years of dedicated service. I just wanted to touch base real quick, Sheriff, on if I want to volunteer for the search and rescue, if I want to join this great team that does fantastic things, how do I do that?
Yeah, we've got great volunteers, Sheridan Area Search and Rescue. You can reach out to any search and rescue member that you may know, or you can call down at the Sheridan County Sheriff's Office, and we can get you in touch with the Sheridan Area Search and Rescue. And there's an application process that you fill out, and then it goes to the Sheridan Area Search and Rescue and the board and its members, and there's some interview processes with that, and coming to some of the meetings to kind of be vetted in a sense, and then the board and the members ultimately vote on those members to be.
Oh, that's fantastic! So they vet.
Absolutely,
that's great. Yeah, and I imagine they provide quite a bit of training on top of all of that.
Yeah. There's training, and once a month there's a training meeting, and then there's a business meeting, and so they have a training schedule that's put out, for the year and the months to come, and trying to get those members to other trainings throughout the state and the region, that are particularly specific to search and rescue, and making sure that they're ready to provide the service to Sheridan County and its residents and visitors.
I've been lucky enough to be a member of some organizations like this, and the camaraderie and the family type of environment, when you build a good, strong team, is absolutely irreplaceable in your life. That is one thing that I have learned, and you get together with a group of these men and women who have a dedicated mindset towards helping others, and I'll tell you, there is a sense of fulfillment that you won't get anywhere else in the world, and you will find yourself also laughing harder than you ever have. It's absolutely amazing, folks. If you want to do something great, that's a good place to start. All right, statute of the month, Under Sheriff. This is something we usually don't have time for.
Right.
I've got about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And this one's actually pretty important because I will admit I've done this in the past.
Sure. Yeah.
I didn't know it was illegal, but now I do.
Bold move.
I know. Throw them on me.
We'll
Take
talk
me out the back.
afterwards.
Yeah.
We'll talk afterwards.
Yeah. No, I know we usually run out of time, but you know, I wanted to bring this up the past couple shows, but simply with the winter weather, I think it plays into that and the construction. Yeah. You know, it's state statute 315217. Basically what it says is that no person shall drive a motor vehicle upon private or public property to gain access to another roadway for the purpose of avoiding a traffic control device. So in the most basic terms, you're driving across a private parking lot in order to avoid the traffic light that's at the intersection.
And that includes like businesses.
Correct. Yeah. And, you know, essentially it just says don't cut across those parking lots or private driveways to avoid the traffic lights or the signage. And, you know, a good example is Caffeine and Sheridan. You know, there's when I was still with the City of Sheridan Police Department, there's a couple private parking lots down there at the chiropractic building and the dental office that are very, you know, enticing to try and cut across to avoid
right
that
there,
light,
right?
and go across. But, you know, folks need to remember, we spoke about a statute a couple months ago in terms of stopping before leaving those driveways or those public parking lots. Coming to that full stop before you're getting onto the roadway isn't only just for the traffic, but you're also looking for citizens, right? And that's something that I think is huge to remember. The dental office there, you know, there's lots of kids running through. They almost always have, you know, the slow signage in front just because they know there's kids cutting through. But I remember, you know, as a city police officer, that was one of the main ones that I would watch pretty often just because it's so enticing. And I get it. I really do. You know, with that's a big intersection. The wait time, you know, is roughly, I think, I'm not exactly sure. I know it can feel longer than probably what it is.
Feels like forever, right?
But trying to cut through that parking lot, I mean, we got to watch for kids. We have to watch for people. There's people going in and out of those businesses. And I know, you know, they say patience is a virtue, and I can't stress that enough in terms of trying to cut across these parking lots. It's not worth it. You know, my recommendation would be to leave a couple minutes earlier if it's come down to that bad of a choice where we're going to have to fly across a parking lot to try and avoid a traffic light.
Absolutely. You never want to put yourself in a situation where you could put the lives of your fellow citizens in danger. You know,
right.
I could not imagine being responsible for something horrible like that.
Right.
It's going to stick with you forever, no matter the outcome. So just take your time. And such a, you know, just a dumb thing to do to hurt someone by accident.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so, you know, I didn't do it regularly. I'll be honest with you. I did it like one time to my memory. And now it's like, you know what? You're right.
I'm backpedaling a little bit here, Floyd, but that's okay.
Right? Yeah.
We'll talk. I'm just kidding.
But you were right. You know
Right.
that it's a stupid thing to do
Right.
when you're putting a lot of people in danger without even really knowing it. Because
Right.
you know we tend to be pretty focused. I got to get here on time. I got to get
Right.
there on time, or I can't wait for this. Well, we need to. We need to take a moment and just wait for the light. Don't cross over, folks. Don't cut corners, right? And that's something that I think everybody has been told at least one time in their life. Do not cut corners. Now, one more time, Sheriff, if you could tell me the time and location for the retirement social.
Yeah, for Ron Condos, Saturday, March 25th from 6 to 9 p.m. at Century 21 BHJ.
Sheriff, Undersheriff, thank you so much for taking the time to come in here. I really appreciate you working around your schedule, so thank you.
No worries.
All right, you've been listening to Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM. Sheridan.